Okay, so previous video we discussed magnetic field intensity and magnetic permeability. Now let us know electromagnets. Electromagnet. And differences between electromagnet and permanent magnet. Directly we can explain electromagnet and permanent magnet. Electromagnet and permanent magnet. Let us discuss the differences. Let us discuss the differences between electromagnet and permanent magnet. Right? So very easy. So that's why directly explaining differences between a bar magnet or a permanent magnet or an electromagnet. Okay, let us take a simple introduction about electromagnet. So, an electric current can be used for making temporary magnets. An electric current is used to make used for making temporary magnets known as electromagnets. An electromagnet works on the magnetic effect of current. Magnetic effect of current. As we know that when electric current is passed through a current carrying wire, a straight line, a circular, a solenoid, so whatever magnetic field is formed around it. Why the magnetic field is formed around the dude? Because of a current produces magnetism in the material. So by passing the electric current, when we make a current carrying wire makes a current carrying wire create a magnetic field. So an electromagnet works on the magnetic effect of electric current. So as we have studied that current passes through a long coil called solenoid. So solenoid acts as, so when a current is passed through a current carrying solenoid, so it acts as a bar magnet. It acts as a bar magnet because of solenoid produce a magnetic field around it. This magnetic field is similar to magnetic field produced by a bar magnet. So, right then, so an electromagnet becomes this combination of solenoid and soft iron. So as we discussed, in case of solenoid, in the solenoid soft iron is placed. So this combination of solenoid and the soft iron, we can make magnets. And we can because of magnetic field by the solenoid, right? So the soft iron acts as a magnet. So this method is called as a magnetization by induction. So in the previous classes, we know we can make the iron or many magnetic substances into magnets by using different methods. So as recall that process by rubbing the iron nail with a bar magnet. So one side by rubbing bar magnet. So means, for example, if this is a iron nail, then when we rub the iron nail with the bar magnet like this, like this. So what will happen? This iron nail acts as a bar magnet. Bar magnet. Then by passing electricity through this iron nail, it also acts as a magnet. So different methods, by using some methods we can make a magnetic material into magnet. One is by rubbing, then other one when we place a magnetic material in a magnetic field. So in case of solenoid, when current is passed through the solenoid, it creates a magnetic field around it. In that field, when we place a soft iron, so soft iron also becomes a magnet. So this method is called as magnetization by induction. Okay. We will discuss later about these magnetization methods. So an electromagnet is a consisting of long coil of insulated copper wire wrapped around a soft iron core that is magnetized only when electric current is passes through a coil. An electromagnet is a magnet consisting of long coil of insulated copper wrapped around a soft iron. So if it is a soft iron, so around it will be wrapped with some copper wire, insulated copper wire. When electric current is passing through, it acts as a magnet. So by passing electric current, the soft iron is turns into magnet. Such kind of magnet is called as a electromagnet. So why should we use this soft iron only? Soft iron used for making electromagnets. What will happen if you take other metals? Right? When we use soft iron, after stopping the flow of electric current, immediately it loses its magnetism. Immediately loses its magnetic property and magnetism. So that's why we are using soft iron for making electromagnets. If we use steel for making electromagnets, so steel does not lose all its magnetism when the current is stopped and becomes a permanent magnet. That's why steel is not used for making electromagnets. Electromagnets can be made in different shapes and sizes depending upon the purpose for which they are to be used. So electromagnets are made into different shapes and different sizes. For making electromagnets, use soft iron. So when we stop the current, immediately it loses its magnetism. That's why soft iron is used. So these factors means the strength of the electromagnet. The strength of the electromagnet depends on the two factors: the number of turns in the coil. The number of turns in the coil means the strength of electromagnet. The strength of electromagnet depends on the two factors. Depends on some factor. They are the number of turns in the coil. Then the current flowing in the coil. The current flowing in the coil. third one is the length of air gaps between its poles. The length of air gaps between its poles. For example, this is soft iron. So when we wrap it with some insulated copper wire. So what will happen? When electric current is passed to it, this strength depends on the number of turns in the coil and the current flowing in the circuit and the length of air gaps between the pole. So here acts as the north pole and it acts as the south pole. So if the length is small, U-shaped magnet. So if the length between these two, the gap between the two magnets, the gap between the two poles of electromagnet, its strength increases. For example, the air gap between the poles of a straight bar type electromagnet is quite large. So bar type of electromagnet is quite large. So a bar type of electromagnet is not very strong. In case of like this, north to south, between these poles, between north and south pole, air space is more. So due to air space is more. So if the electromagnet is like a bar magnet, then the strength of magnetic field of the electromagnet is less because air gaps. So if the length between the two poles is small, then the strength of electromagnetic is more. So it should be noted that many respects an electromagnet is better than a permanent magnet because it can produce very strong magnetic fields and strengths can be controlled by varying the number of turns in its coil or by changing the current flowing to the coil. So instead of using the permanent magnets, better we have to use electromagnets. So in case of permanent magnet, we cannot change the strength of magnet. But in case of electromagnet, we have to change the strength of the electromagnetic field by changing the number of turns in the coil, the current flowing in the coil, then the length between the poles, the length of air gaps between the poles. So finally, little topic only, easy to you understand. That's why I did not explain much about electromagnets. But let us know the differences between a bar magnet and a permanent magnet, a bar magnet or a permanent magnet, and an electromagnet. So electromagnet, it is a temporary magnet. It is here we have the bar magnet. It is a permanent magnet. Its magnetism is only for the duration of current passing through it. So the magnetism of electromagnet can be switched on or switched off or desired. Why it is a temporary magnet? So temporary magnet depends on the means we can make an electromagnet or temporary magnet by passing electric current. Its magnetism its magnetism is only its magnetism is only for duration of current, only for duration of current passing through it, duration of current passing through it. Whenever we want electromagnet, by passing electric current we can get. If we don't want to, so then immediately we switch off it. So we can switch on and switch off the electromagnetism or magnetism in a temporary magnet by switch on the electric current and by switch off the electric current. So a permanent magnet produces comparatively weak. So comparatively weak magnetic strength has comparatively weak magnetic strength when compared with electromagnet. Strong magnetic strength. Electromagnet can produce very strong magnetic force or magnetic strength or whatever. So it produces comparatively less magnetic force or less magnetic strength. Then in case of bar magnet, the strength of permanent magnet cannot be changed. The strength is not changed. Here, the strength is changed. How do we change the strength of electromagnet? Changed. The strength of electromagnet can be the strength of changed. The strength cannot be changed. Here we can change by changing the number of turns in the coil, then the current flowing in the coil. The north-south pole polarity of permanent magnet is fixed. Polarity means north-south. North-south is permanent. Polarity is permanent. So means fixed. Permanent or fixed. We cannot change the polarity in case of bar magnet or permanent magnet. Here polarity is not fixed. So we can change the polarity in case of electromagnet. We can change the polarity in electromagnet by changing the direction of current. So upward or downward, by changing the direction of electric current, we can change the polarity of electromagnet. So this is about the differences between electromagnet and bar magnet. So we discuss some points regarding to electromagnet, and these are the simple differences between. So temporary magnet, permanent magnet, right? The magnetism is only for we can flow the electric current, so that much time only the magnetism is present. But in case of ball magnet or the permanent magnets, is a permanent magnet. In case of ball magnet, it is permanent. So does not depends on the time, right? Then strength of the magnetic field or strength of the magnetic force is strong. Has strong magnetic strength of the magnetic force. When compared with the electromagnet, weak magnetic strength or weak magnetic force. Then the strength cannot be changed. The strength can be changed based by changing the number of turns in the coil. Then the amount of or the current flowing in the coil. Once it has some strength, it cannot be changed. It is fixed. So polarity, north pole, south pole can be changed by changing the direction of electric current. In case of ball magnet, polarities cannot be changed. North pole means north pole, south pole means south pole. Even if we break into two parts, also it has north and south only. North and south only. So these are about electromagnet and bar magnet or permanent magnet. Right. Next. So permanent magnets are usually made of. Permanent magnets are made of alloys such as carbon steel, chromium steel, cobalt steel, tungsten steel, and alnico. Alnico is an alloy of aluminum, nickel, cobalt, and iron. So these bar magnet, permanent magnets are made by. So here on the point. So soft iron. Soft iron is used. In case of bar magnet, permanent magnets, steels, different steels are carbon steel, chromium steel, chromium steel, or other alnico. Alnico is another kind of alloys. So alnico is the alloy of aluminum, nickel, cobalt, and iron. So aluminium, nickel, cobalt, and iron. So these all are made by alloys. So bar magnets are permanent magnets made by steel. It's alloy. Carbon steel, chromium steel, alnico. Alnico is a mixture or other kind of alloy. It's a mixture of a combination of aluminum, nickel, cobalt, and iron. But electromagnet are used are made by only soft iron. Permanent magnets of these alloys are much more stronger than the made of ordinary steel. Such strong permanent magnets are used in microphones, loudspeakers, electric clocks, ammeters, voltmeters, speedometers, and many other devices. Permanent magnets are used in microphones, loudspeakers, electric clocks, ammeters, voltmeters, speedometers, and many other devices. Then what about these electromagnets? Depends on our use. Depends on our use. So this is about permanent magnet and electromagnet. Permanent magnet and electromagnet. Then magnetism in humans. 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 Extremely weak electric current is produced in our body. By the movement of charged particles called ions. These are called ionic currents. Now, we have studied that whenever there is an electric current, already we know that whenever there is electric current, a magnetic field is produced, that is called as magnetic effect of electric current. So when the weak ionic current flow along the nerve cells, when the weak ionic current flows along the nerve cells, they produce magnetic field. They produce magnetic field in our body. So extremely weak current is produced in the human body by flowing some ions. That current is called as ionic currents. These small ionic currents are passing through the nerves. So magnetic field is formed in our human body. For example, given when we try to touch something with our hand, our nerves carry electric impulses to the appropriate muscles. If I want to touch this object, if I want to touch the bone, if I want to touch some other object, so the required some electric signals or electric impulses are transferred to muscles, and also this electric impulse creates a temporary magnetism in the body. So the magnetism produced in the human body is very weak when compared to Earth's magnetism. So the two main are simple ionic currents creates a little magnetism inside our body. This magnetic field is very less when compared to the Earth's magnetism. So here two main organs of human body where the magnetic field is produced is quite significant are heart and the brain. Two significant means in heart and brain. Heart and brain. The two main organs of the human body where the magnetic field is produced is quite significant are the heart and the brain. The magnetism produced inside the body by the flow of ionic current forms the basis of a technique called magnetic resonance. Imaging. You can call MRI. You can call it MRI. MRI stands for MRI, which is used to obtain images or pictures of the internal parts of our body. It is obvious that magnetism has an important use in the medical field or in the medical diagnosis, because through MRI scans it enables the doctors to see inside the body. MRI can detect cancerous tissues inside the body of a person. So magnetism in human body actually electromagnetism, because of magnetism is created and magnetism is produced by the flow of ionic currents. So because of this reason, magnetic resonance imaging MRI is used in medical field to study the internal parts of our body and to know any cancer causes tissues in our body. So in medical medical field. So in medical field, magnetism also useful. Magnetism also useful. That's all.